When high-ranking officials start relocating to military bases, it's not a drill. It's about to hit the fan.
A number of the members of the administration are now living on a military base. What? You didn't know this?
No.
Oh, yeah. Stephen Miller just moved there. Kristi Noem lives on a military base. J.D. Vance.
Why are Trump officials moving into military bases and out of their homes?
Why are Trump officials moving into military bases?
So senior Trump officials are running away from their homes and they are going to military bases, military houses, and that's where they are staying. What are they running away from? All along they know the things they are doing. They're intentional to aggravate Americans to act and go for them. And now they think they are going to go to a place of safety and leave the American people to starve. And yeah, what are Americans saying about this? Just in case, because I know this is not been pushed out there yet. I know it. A lot of people don't know about this. But it's here. Your people, you've been hearing admirals being fired. You know how long it takes for military people to literally, they be on the waiting list for them to get these houses, right? Trump officials are going to these places. Meanwhile, Trump is building a ballroom, allegedly a bunker. What do they know that we don't know? Anywho, welcome back to the channel. I want us to sit through this and you hear what is going on. How many of these people are moving there? Who and who, because they are all listed on here, right? And Americans are like, okay, this is what you're doing. We are seeing what you're doing. And yeah, they have quite a lot of reasoning behind this. We'll watch, come back and talk about it. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Like, share, I'll be back with more.
A number of the members of the administration are now living on a military base. What? You didn't know this?
No.
Oh, yeah. Stephen Miller just moved there. Kristi Noem lives on a military base. J.D. Vance. Oh, no. Rubio. Pete Hegseth. I mean, for people who love America so much, they seem to be scared of it.
I'm one of those people they call a conspiracy theorist. When I hear things like that, I'm like, what do they know that I don't know?
Well, I don't think it's I don't think it's, it's in the paper, but I don't know.
When high-ranking officials start relocating to military bases, it's not a drill. It's about to hit the fan. Sources close to the Trump administration say key officials, including Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem, have quietly relocated to military bases for their own safety. Officially, it's about civil unrest. Unofficially, it looks a lot more like they're posturing for a rapid path to secure bunkers if things spiral out of control. So why the sudden fear? Could it be that millions of Americans are set to lose access to SNAP benefits tomorrow? That means no food money for families already stretched to the breaking point. When that happens, frustration turns to chaos fast. Even the possibility of protests, looting, and maybe even some burning cities. Sources inside the administration say it's preparing to declare a nationwide state of emergency if violence erupts. Quick reaction National Guard detachments are already being trained in every single state, and they could be mobilized in less than 60 days. And just when it couldn't get any stranger, President Trump confirmed plans to resume nuclear testing for the first time in 33 years. When pressed by reporters, he said it plainly. Yes, we're going to be conducting nuclear detonations. Now, this could be a coincidence, but when officials start moving to bases, the economy's collapsing and nuclear tests are back on the table, it might be time to ask what exactly they're preparing for.
Increasingly are facing so many very serious and violent threats that they find that the only option they have is to actually move their families and themselves onto military bases. Here's the list of some of the notable acts of political motivated violence. Of course, you had June 2022, the plot that was thwarted against Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh. You had the Paul Pelosi was attacked in October of 2022. Obviously, you have the assassination attempts on President Trump, both of them. You have the arson at Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro's home.
Yeah, and you have, of course, the Charlie Kirk assassination. And I think the Charlie Kirk assassination was such a shock to, especially to anybody who is in public life, that you could go with security to a university and simply have open debate, and you get shot in such a horrific way in front of college students. I'm still not over it. I'm just surprised how in the liberal media it's just kind of just gone away. Here, a lot of conservatives and, of course, at Fox News, we have not forgotten. We will not forget. But it has just gone off the pages like, oh, just another day. But the people who are not forgetting, especially, are those in the public eye. And so one of them is Stephen Miller. This is The Atlantic saying Stephen Miller joined a growing list of senior Trump administration and political appointees, at least 6 by our count, living in Washington area military housing, where they are shielded not just from potential violence, but also from protests. It is an ominous marker of the nation's polarization, to which the Trump administration has itself contributed. I don't know where they got that from, that some of those top public servants have felt a need to separate themselves from the public. These civilian officials can now depend on the U.S. military to augment their personal security. But so many have made the move that they are now straining the availability of housing for the nation's top uniformed officers.
Multiple members of the Trump administration are now living on military bases as they fear violence from left-wing activists. Marco Rubio, Stephen Miller, and Kristi Noem are just some of the few officials that have sold their private homes and are now living on military bases out in the Midwest and Northeast. The process began last spring as mansion-type homes are being built on Air Force bases all across the U.S. because some officials in the White House are so fearful of their life that they want to be protected directly by the military. Stephen Miller is the recent one to move out whenever somebody came to his home last month, knocked on the door, and simply said, "We are watching you." He then left his home and moved to a military base within 72 hours. Even some Republican senators are asking the Trump administration to do the same to them, with Lindsey Graham being an example. This is a process within the Trump administration that members have to apply for and then be accepted. It so far has a 100% acceptance rate.
Trump administration officials are moving into military housing, costing U.S. taxpayers millions of dollars a year, because they say they're afraid. Even as 42 million Americans are trying to figure out how to feed their children, Trump administration officials are spending millions of dollars a year in your taxpayer money because they're afraid. And in Stephen Miller's case, who was one of the most recent to move onto a military base with 24/7 security because he was fearing for his life and his family's safety because his neighbors were writing chalk messages to him on the sidewalk, a public sidewalk, not even his driveway, a public sidewalk outside his house. Same with Russell Voigt. Same with Pete Hegseth. And same with Kristi Noem. They've all moved on to military bases, and there's dozens more. Pretty much, if you work in the White House and people know where you live, Donald Trump is approving you to move on to a military base so you don't have to be confronted by U.S. citizens who you answer to and who you work for the atrocities you're committing in this country, to the tune of millions of dollars a year. Even as people go hungry, even as people are fearful how they're going to provide for their families, these people are fleecing America because they're afraid over chalk messages on a sidewalk.
Trump administration officials are leaving their homes and displacing generals and very high up military and moving on to military bases in the DC metro area. Why are they doing that? What are they afraid of? Are they afraid that the policies that they are propping up and putting into place and enforcing without any regard for other people will come back to bite them? Or are they planning to do something so egregious that they need the protection of the military police and the base?
So, Stephen Miller, Kristi Noem, Marco Rubio, and other regime officials are all moving into housing on military bases, as reported by The Atlantic. The article talks about them displacing generals and the prestige of living on base, but I want to point out that they are all running to secure locations. That means that they feel the threat of civil unrest is so high that they need to hide away on a base protected by military police. I think this is another canary indicator for you as to how bad things are about to get. Because 42 million people are about to lose their most basic lifeline, their SNAP benefits that allows them to buy food. Remember, when the big stupid bill passed, I said we're going to see a huge uptick in this stochastic violence by people who are just out of hope. And that's what we have seen, an increase in political violence, an increase in random mass shootings. And the damage of the Republican bill hasn't even taken effect yet. Now we are about to see their effects taking place. First, it's everyone losing their food benefits, not being able to eat. It's all the federal employees that are working right now, not getting paid. Next year, millions are going to be paying hundreds to thousands more per month for their health insurance. You know, I wish I had something good to say. I wish I had something positive to leave you with, but I don't. It's going to get worse. That's why these regime officials are moving to their secure military bases, because they're in the driver's seat and they know that they are about to drive us off the cliff. And my message for everyone who's about to get royally fucked, remember, it is the billionaires and all of their enablers in this regime who are causing the pain. Remember that.
Did you know that top Trump officials are now living on U.S. military bases? Yeah, civilian advisors living on U.S. United States military bases. They moved out of their Washington, D.C. homes to live on military bases. Why, you're probably asking? Let's break this all down. It all started after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and soon after that, protesters started targeting the White House advisor Stephen Miller and his wife Katie. Protesters then got outside his neighborhood in Virginia, said that he was like one of the mustache people, and now the Millers, alongside with at least 6 other top Trump officials, are quietly moving into secure military housing across Washington, D.C. These people include Kristi Noem, Marco Rubio, Pete Hegseth, and others. And these houses are usually reserved for generals, and so they were pushed out to put in these political appointees, and experts say that this is like the first time we've ever seen something like this. But the reason for all this is quite clear. The threats are escalating because after Charlie Kirk's death, we've seen the Trump administration label Antifa a domestic terrorist group despite no legal framework on that label. And with ICE agents going through cities, with the National Guard going and being put into cities, and other things happening, including, well, a government shutdown, people losing SNAP benefits, people are getting angry at the people who are making the decisions. And look, in history, we have seen sometimes these figures go into these bases for a temporary thing, but now it looks permanent, which should show you something. That if your people are that angry with you, that you have to live full-time at a military base, clearly you're doing something wrong. And there's more to this story. The Atlantic put out a great article called "The Top Trump Military Officials Are Moving Into Military Bases," and I would suggest you read it. It is quite interesting. I'll be sure to keep you guys updated on this, though, so please do share my videos and follow me.
Well, go figure. Some of Dictator Don's top schnozy officials are moving into military housing. The schnozy security cats are leaving their houses, moving into possibly free military housing, and taking over the housing of the military officers that are supposed to be living there. I thought they were big and bad. I mean, that's what happens when you act like a fascist regime terrorizing the people in your country. Well, that kind of sounds like a silver lining to me, knowing that the people will never let them have a peaceful day and will make sure that they're uncomfortable every day that their boots are on the ground in America. I mean, welcome to the people's reality right now, assholes. It sounds like they might need to invest in a slice of Argentina. Yeah, the empathy and playing nice left the station for most of us back in January, you maggot chud guzzling pieces of trash. Anyway, the rest of y'all have a good day now, okay?
Why are Trump officials moving into military bases? Why? The Atlantic reports senior Trump officials like Stephen Miller and Marco Rubio have moved into military base housing in D.C. You know, the kind of historic homes that normally go to top uniformed officers, as they should. Just like, that's not a metaphor. Actual houses on Fort McNair's General's Row. And DHS Secretary Kristi Noem, remember her? She's been living rent-free in the Coast Guard Commandant's residence at Joint Base. Yeah, the Commandant's house, while the service scrambles to justify it. Even the Washington Post says insiders are not thrilled, and why would they be thrilled? Meanwhile, the Pentagon's running a barracks housing task force because troops are dealing with mold, broken plumbing, and shortages. So soldiers wait while political appointees get keys to the nicest places on bases. Also, remember the 136 or 7,000 in upgrades for Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth's official residence in Fort McNair. So the Army paid for it. Raising a bit more transparency questions, don't you think? Just bottom line, when taxpayers pay for military housing, and it becomes a refuge for politicians to avoid protests. Is that supporting the troops? That's cutting the line. Who approved these moves? What's the rent? Is there rent? And who was supposed to get these homes? If you think military housing should prioritize military families, share this.
Why is there an unusual amount of Trump cabinet members that's actually staying on military bases? And why is no one actually talking about this? I saw this headline a couple of days ago and I thought to myself, yeah, that sounds on brand for Stephen Miller. He's a little bit of a weasel and he seems like the type that would actually just love to mooch off of the government while he actually harms millions of Americans. And I found this story about how not only is Pete Hegseth and Marco Rubio living on military bases, but there's multiple members of the Trump administration that are currently living on United States military bases. This story talks about how Pete Hegseth and other members of the Trump administration has moved into housing that was specifically earmarked for vice admirals, and it's getting kind of concerning. Note how in the past, yes, there has been members of certain cabinets that have stayed on military bases, but everyone's saying there's an extremely high number of Trump cabinet members that are currently living on military bases. It highlights how it makes it harder for those admirals to now find housing because the houses that were earmarked for them are being taken by those members of the administration. And also talks about how Marco Rubio, just moments after being sworn in, he moved into a house that's located near Pete Hegseth. But in Donald Trump's first administration, there was only two members, which was Jim Mathis and Mike Pompeo, who actually lived on military bases. This is something very uncommon for all administrations, including the last Trump administration. My only question is, why are they hiding out on these military bases? What are they so scared of? Are they scared that they know that they're doing something wrong? And are they afraid that the people may possibly rise up? Are they worried about being heckled or seen in public? What's the real reason? Because they like free shit. They like free shit, and they've decided that they want to actually get cheap housing and protection at the same time.
We have some big news right now. The Atlantic is exclusively reporting that senior Trump administration officials are living on military housing, taking up housing from senior military leaders, and they're literally running out of housing because Trump administration officials, from Stephen Miller to Marco Rubio to others, are living on military housing, and it's unprecedented. There has never been so many administration officials living in these military housing. And the reason why is because they're fearful from protests and more. Previously, we knew that Kristi Noem was living in these military housing installations, but now Stephen Miller is, Marco Rubio is as well. There's no record of ever so many political appointees living in these military installations. It's literally being dubbed the, quote, unofficial green zone, according to The Atlantic, because of how many Trump officials there are living there. And you know who's paying for it? You. Taxpayers.
Did you know that Stephen Miller and Kristi Noem, amongst others, are living in military housing right now? And no, it's not completely uncommon for administration members to stay on military bases temporarily, but this is a record high. They're staying there because they're scared. They're afraid of retaliation from the horrors that they've put American families through. They'll tell you it's because the radical left are threatening their lives, which they're really not. What they're doing is threatening the American public's lives, so they have to hide. There are American citizens that are carrying around whistles so they can blow them in case ICE is around. Because people in the middle of the day are being thrown on the ground and shot and kidnapped by their goons. So yeah, they're hiding in military housing, just so you're aware. Your tax dollars are paying for that.
Big bad Stephen Miller is scared of protesters. He talks such a big game, but he is a titty baby at heart.
They're taking the homes that previously housed senior officers on military bases, so-called for their protection and their security and their safety. These people include Marco Rubio, Stephen Miller, Kristi Noem, and others. What is going on? This is not normal behavior. Is this setting the stage for something greater to be happening in this country? We need to be watching for these type of things. Please share this information.
What's up, guys? D7 back at you. As always, a lot going on out there, but we've got some moves being made here that I wanted to point out that we haven't seen at this level before. We've got multiple Trump administration officials, high-level officials, high positions, trying to move on to military bases. Many of them are making this move right now. Some already have. Others are trying. Now, Army Secretary Dan Driscoll, he's trying to make this move. Kristi Noem was one of the first to do this. We also have now Stephen Miller packing his family up and moving into the area in D.C. known as General's Row or around that vicinity. You have Marco Rubio that lives on the base as well. You have Pete Hegseth. Then you have Tulsi Gabbard trying to get on to the base to live with her family. All because they fear for their lives. They're saying that they fear the repercussions of what is to come with protests, with riots, assassination attempts, all this stuff. And then there's more that they will not name because of national security and to keep them safe. They will not name these individuals. So we don't even know who they are that they're moving into the base because they all fear for their lives. So we've seen a lot of action, a lot of protests over the years. BLM, we've seen all kinds of crap. We've never seen officials start to flip out and geek out like this and go running for cover into the military bases. It's as if they're expecting something huge to happen. I think we can all feel it in the air. The question is what, when? It could be a combination of things, but one thing's for sure at this point. They're telegraphing that they know something huge is coming that's going to make the people upset en masse. And they're basically running into hiding, into a protective space here. And I expect more to follow. If I get names on these individuals who are trying to keep under wraps, I'll update.
So you're telling me administrative staff of the U.S. government and ICE officials are living on military bases? Oh, you know it's because they want to protect themselves because they're scared of the people that they are terrorizing. And not only that, they're taking that away from military members and their families. And they're not even paying the military enough that a lot of them are on SNAP benefits, which our federal government is holding out on. Like, do they realize what assholes they look like? For real.
Got a couple things to say about that one. First one being, I hope they're living in the fucking barracks buildings that are full of black mold. Just like they make the military, the junior enlisted in the military, and the Army, the Navy, and the Marines live in that shit. I really hope they're living in them. But I also believe that Congress should be living in those kinds of environments too. They shouldn't be having these giant fancy homes. They're there to fucking work. They're not there to, schmooze it up on the taxpayers' dime, which quite a few of them are doing. So, there's that. Now, if you really want to make an impact, I strongly encourage everyone to go and contact their state governor, who, no matter who it is, and ask for a constitutional convention of a governor's conference. And make term limits for all of them. I think we need 38 governors to agree to it. Get on it, guys.
I do hope that from wherever you are watching this from, you are doing all right. Hopefully God has protected you and preserved you very well. Thank you so much to all of you that keep supporting me on here. Big shout out to my members. You guys do me amazing, amazing. Yes, we are back with this episode. So these people have a luxury of slapping people and running and hiding behind their parents. Hey. Yeah. While you have veterans that are homeless, while you have your military people that are literally going without a paycheck, you have federal workers that are going without a paycheck, you have people's food stamps taken away, you have made American cities so unsafe that you yourself cannot live within them. You have made American cities and places so unsafe, not just for Americans, but for yourselves too. That the only place that you feel is safer is on these bases, because you know no civilian is going to penetrate and go through there to look for you. Don't forget, you're not just one person. You have families, and your families have families, and their families have families. I'm not trying to say anything here, but I am thinking, are you going to do this to all these people? Mind you, MAGAs are the only people that get aggravated when probably a judge stops something, blocks a certain decision, and they go there, and then there's not even ratings like the ratings that they're afraid of the ratings. Yeah? MAGAs, the moment they know someone is trying to block them, they go and blow their houses. They go and blow those people out. I mean, this is not a lie. You saw that judge whose house was set ablaze. You saw the congresswoman and her husband who were, yeah. So these people are the only people that get afraid simply because people are writing stuff. And you know what? I think this is actually getting good. Because much as they would spread the propaganda that it's the far left, no. They are literally touching people's plates. They are taking food from people's plates. A hungry person has nothing to lose. They will do anything. So these are the people that they are fighting against. It's not the far left anymore. It's not the far left anymore. It's the people that voted for them that have also started seeing this. Also, let's not forget, in the same party, yes, within the same party, people are in there saying, absolutely not, what you're doing. So, there's punching within themselves. So, that's why they're running. And they think they're going to have the luxury of thinking they will be safe. People are saying that Trump, that's not a ballroom, it's a bunker. Running away from who? The American people. The same people that you're supposed to be serving. These are the same people that stand on podiums and speak with so much energy, so much confidence while hurting. JD Vance said the suffering, the pain is gonna get worse. Worse? Dude, you are talking about millions of children. I don't blame American people on this, just in case. They have every right. But the good thing is, at least they're warning. I don't know if you've seen portraits of Stephen Miller, and they are literally drawing portraits of him and they're distributing them on the streets. And people are like, this is the what. And this is not trolling as much as it might look like that, but this is not trolling. These people are afraid. And who would know that the people that thought they are so strong, they would be afraid. I think the voices of American people have started getting to them. And they know what Americans are capable of doing. They know. Do you guys think they are safe at the military bases? Do you think, in the first place, it is fair that they have to go without literally even waiting on the list when there are so many military families that are literally on the waiting list to be on here? Do you think it has something to do with the admirals and generals that have been fired? Because yes, there are those people that are literally being fired. And it is very possible that these people are being shifted out of their houses just to prepare this. And please, if you think this is a joke, many more of the Trump administration, whatever, personnel are going to go there. Because time is coming where it is not safe for anybody that voted for this. Even their own people, they will start... It's going to be like a real hunt. But they know that November is here. Crime is indeed going to be high. So if you're running away from protesters who actually are not even violent, scriptures say that the evil one runs without anybody chasing. The evil one runs without anybody chasing. The conscience, the guilt, and everything be eating them up. Evil ones run without anybody chasing. And the snares they are trying to set for the American people, American people, that's what your officials are doing. What do you think in the comment section? Like, share, subscribe to the channel. And I am praying for you guys to stay safe, because If they are running away, that means there's something they know is about to be unleashed on the US soil. They've been looking for it. They're starting wars here, left, right, center, not just with the American citizens, but even... I love you guys. Stay safe, but that's what your officials are doing. I'll see you guys later. My name is Casey. God watch over you, protect you, and provide. And yeah, please look out for each other. See you later.